What up, what up? Birds of a Feather, live from the Real Talk Studios on ATD Radio. The first half, brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC. Our certified public accountant, make them yours, gibsonmayer.com, and by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Hey guys, there's no Chrome.
No
as you
Chrome.
can see. But we got the Big Daddy. We got Tom in the house.
And I would not be showing up if it was a loss, just to confirm.
Yeah, I would be by myself. So thank you. Thank you for coming in. It's the first time with just us two. It's crazy.
Yeah, the only other thing, we had Chrome in between us before, but not
not just us two.
Not just us two.
So it's the first time. And, of course, we got on the ones and twos. The bro. What's going on, Ryan?
Hello, sir. Hello, Tom.
What is up?
What's up, brother?
It's a good day, guys. We got our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. You would think I'd have it up, but what was the most impressive part of the Eagles' win against the Redskins? Wentz clicking with Tate, Adams and Sproles, Josh Adams and Sproles, I should clarify, defensive improvements, or just the overall team confidence that we got going on. There are a lot of things to like going out of that game. Those are the four I narrowed it down to. But if you have anything else you want to bring up, definitely mention it in the comments. We'll discuss. We'll talk. There's a lot to talk about because, guys, we have a 2-game winning streak for the first time this season. And it feels good. I mean, it's sad, like, when you think about last season. We had a 2-game winning streak. We had, a 10-game winning streak last season. So we kind of got spoiled. But, hey, we're finally gaining a little momentum. The team actually starts to look on both sides of the ball like they're a capable team. So
Getting closer.
It's getting closer. It's getting closer. There. So, Tom, we'll start with you. What was the most impressive part of last night's win?
Well, I mean, it's a combo because you have to be able to run the football. I mean, I know you're a running back junkie and you love that stat. Now 6-0 when they ran the ball 25 times or more. So that's a great stat because it's not just a 1 or 2 game sample size. Now it's a trend. When you're talking about 6 games, that's a lot. So I mean that's a big part of the football game. But it all still starts at the quarterback position. And I thought Carson, not only his ability to move around inside the pocket and outside and throw the ball well on the run. So I thought him and Tate putting it together finally, because I kept yelling, and I know you guys probably did too, this is why you went and got him. This is why we went and got him. And I was yelling that the whole time. So I'm gonna go with Carson and Golden on that one, even though I believe that you got to run the football enough in this league. And a lot of times 25 times comes because you're winning games, and then you're going to run the ball more, fourth quarter. So them numbers are going to get better for you. I still believe you want to be able to throw the football and throw it early, but you need to have the respect. So now teams, when they go watch tape, they're going to say, okay, they can run the ball. We can't, we got to put in maybe another guy in the box, or at least respect it when you talk about RPOs or anything like that, which they end up. You see how much that stuff works now.
Yeah.
Because we ran the football well for 2 weeks. So now teams are respecting it a little bit more, and you see how it's paying off. And getting Sproles back was big. And I thought Corey out of the backfield did a hell of a job too. But I'm going to go Carson Golden.
Carson and Golden. That's great answer because it's finally nice, especially after we heard weeks ago that it was hard, it was difficult, it was challenging for Groh to implement him in this offense, and that's not what we want to hear.
Nope.
We traded a 3rd-round pick for this guy who we thought was going to be like the missing piece to continue this season, much like Ajayi was last season. He was that final piece, like, hey, let's go make a run. But it hasn't panned out that way, and just like if you wonder, and we talked about it last week, and we hate to keep pounding this nail, but where is the communication? If you're the coach and Howie and whatnot, where's the communication? Like, okay, if Howie wants to go and get this guy, the coaches had to have some kind of input. Like, okay, if you're going to get this guy, this is how we're going to implement him. This is how we're going to use him, and we have a plan. But that wasn't the case. This game was the first time we were like, okay, it doesn't seem like they're forcing it any. Like weeks ago, it seemed like it was like a forced issue. Like, okay, they had to call a screen. It's going to Tate and all that. But this time, against the Redskins, it felt like he was just actually out there as another receiver. And when he was open, and if his name was called, his number was called, he made the play. And so that's what it felt more organic and more natural that he was being a part of this offense. And when that happens, he makes plays like you saw numerous times. I think the most impressive play to me was that was the I'm trying to remember. I rewatched the game, but it was one of those third down plays where he was running an out, and I think Carson was on a bootleg and hit him for the third down.
Yep.
Because that's something simple like that. You know, he had the numerous, like the play on the first drive was great. He had his one long catch and run, which was great. But that third down play is so simple, but it shows that they're not trying to force things anymore.
Well,
and I thought that was
that's perfect. Can
yeah.
some of it be too when you get traded to a new team, and especially a team that's trying to win a division, and the excitement of a fan base when you're coming to a big market like Philly, and you want to do a lot too. So part of it is, I thought early on he didn't look to make a lot of guys miss, and that could be trying too hard too, and not just playing football.
Yeah.
And I thought last night his ability to make guys miss and the yards after catch, what we talked about, and his big thing on why we went out and got him, because he's a guy who can take a slant and make you miss and take it 50, even though he doesn't necessarily have the speed to beat you over the top, right? So that's what he brought to the table. And I thought last night was the first time since the trade that I saw him make guys miss after the catch and make some big plays in big spots.
Definitely. In terms of the poll question, what my answer will be, I am probably going to go with Adams and Sproles. How predictable. But I think I wanted to make sure.
Well, I knew you were going there, so
Yeah,
I had to go the other way.
But for me, I wanted to make sure that, one, the Adams getting the 20-plus carries wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
Like we saw in the Giants game, and we were all like, okay, this guy's feeling it. Keep giving him the ball. So it was nice to see that he, again, 20-plus carries for Adams. We got him going. And then on the Sproles side, it was just nice to see him out there, again, making plays. Like, he's going to be on sort of a pitch count for the rest of this season, I would assume. I don't think he's going to get the type of workload we saw in week 1.
And that's okay.
And that's fine, because you see, as sparingly as he is out there, he still knows how to make plays. And that's, like, I just posted this because I know that A2D put out a post about Mighty Mouse's back, and it's good to have him. There were so many people ripping him the past few weeks about, like, you're stealing money. He's stealing money here. We shouldn't have signed him.
Yeah, I might have broke balls about it, but it was never about, like, him stealing money. He was great. He was a great pickup. He's been here for a while now, if you think about it, and he's old.
Yeah.
So, coming into this year, I think we all thought anything good you can get out of him was just going to be an upgrade for this football team. And 2 games that, I think he's, 2-1 in the games he's been in, right? So, I mean, 2 of the games he's been in, he's made a big play. In the Atlanta game, he made a big play. He made a guy miss, and I think it was a huge third down conversion to keep a drive going. So, I mean, any game that he's got a chance to be in for this football team, he's helped us. So, and your point, that any little role he can have, even on a pitch count and everything, it's just an upgrade. It's just a help. It just helps.
With Sproles, the thing is, you got to remember, the reason why we chose him over Blunt is because we had Ajayi coming back, so he filled a role. He was going to be the lead back. We didn't have a space player, okay? Someone in space who could be a mismatch. And that's what Sproles is. As old as he is, he might not be as fast or athletic overall as he once was. That's obvious. But he's still very smart. And he knows how to follow blockers and how to be effective in space. And he is still, in terms of like our running backs, he's still the best player in space. He knows how to make people miss still and be tough to tackle. And, part of it is it because part of it is he's short and he hides behind the line? Yeah. But it also is because he's so jacked. Like, he's only, 190? But when you're 5'6", 190, you made of pure muscle, you're going to be tough to tackle.
It was funny. I was watching a game with Lena and her friend were over, and I was making a point. I'm like, hey, he's been here a while. And I said, but, they're like, he's so small because they saw him standing up to the other guys. And I'm like, yeah, but that's actually a benefit for him, because these big guys are guys that are blocking for him. So now, how are the other guys on the other side seeing him?
Yeah,
It makes it hard to see him in space sometimes.
Yeah,
not in space, in
behind the line.
That first start, that first part of the handoff. If any misdirection with it, it's tough to see him. And then when he can hide back there, find a hole, and hit it, it makes it makes it harder for your linebackers and D linemen. Now safeties, it's a little easier because you're further back. You know what I'm saying? But for your front seven, it's tough to see them sometimes.
It is. So that's what I'm going to go with Adams Pros, and it's good to just get that running game going because with the way our offense is structured, we're not like a big play deep offense, deep ball offense like Kansas City. We're not like that. We're not structured. We are methodical offense. We focus on the short to intermediate passing game, and it is pass first. But in order to do that, you need to help Wentz out. He can't do it all by himself. If you're going to have long methodical drives, you need the running game to get ahead of the sticks. Instead of making it 3rd and 10, now you got 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. You know what I mean? So you need the running game to be able to be efficient, and you need to lean on it to keep defenses off balance. So
Absolutely.
Let us know what you guys think. I don't know if you guys have seen yet, but the new feature is we have the poll question up on the Facebook page. You can actually click it now and vote. So definitely click and let us know what you guys think. I'm going to go run down some of these comments so far. So on Facebook, we got Greg. He says, Greg's over in North Carolina. He says, can I vote nothing? LOL. I didn't see anything impressive myself. If I had to pick something, it's the O-line play since we started running the ball. Of course, Greg's going to be negative like that.
Negative. So I said that's who you are, Greg. Yeah. But continue to be negative because you're the reason we won the Super Bowl last year.
Exactly.
You're the sole reason. Not any player, nobody else. It was Greg Malkovic who was the sole reason we're Super Bowl champions.
It's Greg. Dion, what up, fellas? What's up, Dion?
What's up, brother?
Good win last night. Good to see Darren Sproles back as well. Now off to Dallas. It's time now to take them out just like a sniper would. Let's go.
I love that talk. Little shooter.
Greg says, breaking news, Chucks went with the running backs. Love you, Chucks. By the way, did you go 6 to midnight when he scored? Hell yeah. Just ask Mary. I jumped off of my bed. I was like, let's go, Sproles.
that came out. We don't want to tell you what happened after that. But
Dion asks, why did the Bills release Benjamin? It's so funny because you've made your video on Twitter and stuff just hours before here. Dion, they released Benjamin because he sucks. And he's
Listen,
fat.
you can tell when a guy just
he doesn't
want to keep himself in shape. You know, you got to be in shape in this league. And to me, he ate himself out of being a tight end in this league, and he's a wide receiver. So there's not much options left. And when you're cutting a guy with 4 games left, and you're a bad football team, and why would you even cut it? It just shows you're done with the act. And now it's another team that's done with the act. So to me, it's issues that I want no parts of. I'm trying to win football games. And you know what, Dion? The last thing we need is a wideout. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think – and a wideout that can't stretch the field. Now, if there's like a burner out there but that gets released and you think, okay, but at this point of the year, we saw how hard it was for Mike Groh to integrate Golden Tate. You know, Kelvin Benjamin don't give a shit. So that's going to be a hard integration.
Yeah, and I think what was it, a couple months ago, Ryan, where you did suggest – one week you suggested Kelvin Benjamin, and I was like, hell no.
Well, you know what
it
was?
So overrated. And then the next week, it was a report that came out that he didn't want to throw around with Josh Allen or something, and you were like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, all 3 of us made a list of wide receivers because of how bad it got because we had no wide receivers at the time. I'm like, oh, what about Kelvin Benjamin? And then you said the one nickname which will always go with him, Fat Kelvin. I'm like, no, I don't want a guy that's called that on my team.
Yeah, exactly what
Fat Kelvin, Eagles, Super Bowl. I don't really want that in my life.
That's not a good thing to wish upon us.
Yeah,
when we already got a little fat from the Super Bowl.
Exactly, and he's
a little too much little bites.
I always considered him as the most overrated wide receiver, even when he had his good year, because keep in mind, and I told this to Chrome and Ryan, the year the Panthers went to the Super Bowl, it wasn't with Kelvin. If you look at the analytics and the numbers, that offense is more efficient when they didn't have Kelvin, and that's why they figured he was expendable. And so when you have a guy like him who really doesn't stretch the field because he's fat, and he really is like a jump ball guy, but he's not even that great at it.
Can't even jump anymore.
He can't even jump anymore. And he wants to be the number one, and you're trying to force feed him the ball. That you sacrifice efficiency in your offense. So I always saw him as overrated. So I mean, that's good. I guess the Bills see that now. Brito, you commented.
I did.
You said
Hello.
it was great
Hi.
to finally see some urgency on the offensive side of the ball.
I agree with
Yes.
Well, bigger than that. I mean, I talked about it yesterday morning. Let's see how much fight we have, but it was bigger than that. Like, well, let me go. Can we score 10, 14 in the first? Now, I was asking for a lot, but they went and got 7 on the first drive, which is the kind of statement you needed.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, anything's up from 1.9. So, I mean, you're working your way up from 1.9.
I would have taken a field goal. I'd be like, oh, points.
Yeah,
Okay,
anything.
something.
Even a
But
safety would have been.
It was big. It was big. It's like, okay, at least you can run your scripted well.
Yeah.
So what we learned about Monday night, last night, was that you can run you're starting to figure out how to run them scripted well.
Yeah.
So can that carry over? Because all year you haven't run because you go in every game 15, 20 plays scripted. So what you're telling me when you're scoring 1.9 points with 15 to 20 scripted is shit. Everybody here could write 15 to 20 better scripted than.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me. When it's 1.9, that's horrendous. That's horrendous.
The last time I think we scored on an opening drive for the offense was week 3 against the Colts. And that's that
tells
bad.
you, yes.
That tells you all you
It's
need
like
to
the
know.
AP
That's-
run. Them numbers go down
It
because
goes down.
1.9 is tough to do.
Exactly. And I think that it was great to see from the offense because you could say, I know we only put up 28 points only, and it's tough to say we dominated them, but the thing is we could have had a 40 burger on them because if it wasn't for two drives that we gaffed, where it was the 4th down conversion, which was a bad play call, but we were in position to score a touchdown or score points, and then the Carson Wentz interception. So, and I'm not saying that, hey, we really scored 40 when we only scored 28. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the offense dominated in the sense that they were in a flow, they were in a rhythm, and they had control of the game the whole time.
And a huge part of that is spreading the football around. If you go back and look on guys who had catches, everybody got the football.
Yeah.
Makes sense? And we talk about it, like people being Ertz is their whole offense, blah, blah, blah. Last night that wasn't the case, correct? Zach Ertz had a great night. Not taking anything away from his night. But Golden had a good night. Nelly showed up and made some big plays and was open on another one that would have even made it, but at least another target to him. Corey, like we talked about out of the backfield, had a really good night. So, other guys got involved. It wasn't just Zach Ertz and Alshon. Alshon had 4 catches, but everybody got a piece of the rock last night. And when you can distribute the football, now guys got to start worrying about other guys.
Yeah.
And the second you can do that to other teams and defenses, you put some fear in them.
Here's the thing, that because the reason, like, there was that whole, what was it, an article or a report that people in the locker room felt that the offense was suffering because Ertz was getting targeted too much. I don't know if that was an.
And I don't know what that means either. Like, I don't know what that means. If you got something going on with a guy, you got it going on with a guy. You can tell. And if you're a common sense thinker and you know anything about the game of football, well, it's all about chemistry. So if that's who I got my best chemistry with in tough spots, that's who I'm going to go to the football with. And why would you not go to the best tight end / wide out in football? I mean, the numbers are speaking that he's better than a lot of wideouts. So throw him the goddamn ball. What do I got a problem with? Now spread it out though, but give him the rock. If he gets 9, 10 catches, good.
This is what I always believe in the passing offense should be. You throw it to an open wide receiver. Ertz is I'm gonna retract that. He's not probably. He is the best route running tight end in the game. He is. He gets open. Period. So if he's getting open, I don't mind him getting targeted and getting all the catches. If people want to spread the ball around, well, tell the other guys to get open, because I'll tell you, last 2-3 weeks that wasn't the case. Guys weren't getting open downfield. So I don't want to hear. I'm not saying that people in the locker room were saying it. I'm just going off of what was rumored. Apparently, people were complaining. I don't know if it was just made up from reporters or whatnot, but I'm just saying that in general, if you think the ball should be spread out, well, then tell everyone to get open. If you're open, the quarterback's responsibility is to get you the ball. But from what I saw, no one was getting open, and it was different this game, and it's good to see. If you want the ball, to be spread around.
Well, Carson, Carson on the run is so important too. I mean,
yes,
I feel like the legs started to come back last night.
Half boot legs.
Yeah, he was really moving around better. I mean, you're getting closer to that full year back from it, which is huge, since he came back early. But I agree with Mark Monique here. He says O-line. Yeah, definitely both sides of the football you got to give a ton of credit to for last night's win. I mean, you win up front in this league. It's simple.
Alexander Verrucci, he put like a couple paragraphs in here. He asked our opinions on this. He said, I would like to know your guys' opinion. I think Wentz is playing well. He misses a pass here and there, but all things considered, I'm happy with his play. But some people are saying his mechanics are off a little bit, and I know Kelsey was awesome, but if you ask me, our offensive line blocks well when running, but pass blocking is shaky. And I think
they pass block real well last night because they can run the football. When guys aren't teeing off on you, it's going. No O-line can sit back and just let D linemen tee off all
exactly.
Because then you got a tough fight against. You got to put. Sometimes you got to at some point in a football game, it's go smack somebody in the mouth.
Exactly.
You know.
He goes on to say, and I think if his feet are off, it's because he was running for his life. And I think as we run the ball, the pass blocking will get better, and his mechanics will as well. What do you guys think?
That's fair because it's what I've been saying is like I've always said you can't people. What always gets me mad is people are saying like running backs don't matter. The running game doesn't matter. It's a passing league. The running game certainly still matters because you need balance. When the offensive line, exactly what you said, is not dropping back 40, 50 times a game to protect, and they have a nice balance of being able to run block and get up in the D lineman, that helps their confidence. That helps protect. That's another way of protecting the quarterback. That's a fact. So when you have someone like Wentz, who knows if he's 100% or not? No one of us really know except for maybe Carson Wentz. He might be the only person in the world that knows if he's 100% or not.
Yeah.
However,
same as Markelle Fultz.
However, he is, as you can see, he's still good enough to play and he can still move. So I think that the whole mechanics thing, I don't believe that I disagree with that notion that okay, his mechanics are off. He has had inaccurate passes the last few weeks. I admit that. But to begin from week 3 up until I'd say maybe the bye week, he was accurate as hell. We were talking about him dropping dimes left and right. Something happened the past few weeks where he's been off on some throws, and I admit that, but I don't think that's mechanics.
That could be part of just the knee, too, getting back to 100%, feeling confident with your legs. You know, I think he sails balls sometime high, but to me, that's always just been him jacked up. You know, I'm not making an excuse for it, you know, but like any quarterback, guys are going to miss throws. There's going to be games when they're getting a lot of pressure and they're not going to look as good, especially when your escapability isn't what it was.
Yes.
You got to remember, last year he made so many plays on the run and the move, not just running with the football, but hurting defenses, killing defenses. Like I told Len last night, you can't cover in this league for 7 seconds, 8 seconds. Somebody's going to be open.
Yeah, someone's going to be open.
Like the Mark Sanchez play, I was like, oh shit, when he's running all around, I'm like, oh, somebody's open, and then nobody was open. But I'm like, usually somebody's always open, and Carson could do that last year, and that's killer for a defense. When you're talking about like third and whatever, and you're trying to get off the field, and the guy makes, you know, you got all the right things going right. You get the pressure on the quarterback, and he moves in the pocket well and can make a play on the run. That's this league. That's this league. Being able to throw from the pocket is still you still need to be able to throw from the pocket. But if you can throw from the pocket enough and you can make plays on the run, that's what separates guys in this league.
Why do you think that?
Besides Brady.
Why do you think? Well, good thing you brought up Brady because
he still moved in the pocket well
he
inside
has great
it.
Pocket awareness.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When you can buy time with pocket awareness too, that goes a long way. And then you have the other guys that buy time. That's what makes them so deadly. We got a breaking news announcement from Chrome. He is on his way, so he will be here for the second half. He was at a Christmas party, but
pitch and change.
Yeah, we'll get the tag team up. You're gonna tag. Tom's gonna tag him in for the second half. Deion Brown says we had a Nate Gary sighting, boys. Nice. Yeah, and Nate Gary played well in the run defense last night. He was very sound, and he came up with an interception. So it is good to see
somebody
him
can actually catch the ball back there.
Someone that can actually catch the ball. Jesse.
You got Justin Pope up there. What did he say earlier? Because his went away on me.
His went away. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, because I jumped out for a sec.
I don't see Justin Pope's.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Justin,
if you're
put it in there again.
If you're listening, He said, "Oh, okay. I think it was a response because Jesse Ramon Nichols, resident Cowboys.
Here we go.
Hey, Jesse.
What will you say when my boys whip y'all again Sunday?
Good game.
Justin Pope says, "Keep dreaming, sunshine."
Why would we say anything else to you, Jesse? Nobody's like, we're realists here. Like, you come out and you smack us in the mouth and you beat us like you think you're going to do, then all the credit in the world goes out to you. Okay? But let me tell you something. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. You think just because you beat the Saints at home that defines you as a football team. You look good. You took the fight to them. But we know the Saints on the road's history. Okay? We know their history, and that's a short week, and Dallas had a full week to get ready for that football game because it wasn't a short week for them like it was for New Orleans. Factor everything into it. New Orleans played Sunday. Dallas played Thanksgiving. That's a big difference in terms of when you played. That matters. So now they came back and play on Thursday night, and you see it. To me, I think that's part of it. And Dallas defensively is a good football team.
Yes.
But do you think that you're going to put that same whipping on our offense? I think you're nuts. I think you're flat out nuts. Because I'm telling you, we're coming down and we're scoring a lot of points.
And not even
Sunday afternoon.
Not even that too. Well, good
Keep
point.
saying we score a lot. So we score a lot.
Good point. But then, how many points did they score against the offense? The Saints defense.
10. No, 13.
No,
13. Sorry.
13 points. So how many
We're
touchdowns?
thinking the same
thing.
How many touchdowns was that?
One
touchdown.
Zeke, right?
So you're telling me the Cowboys offense against the Saints defense on the road put up 13 points.
And we should be getting some guys back too, defensively as well.
So,
some more
again,
help back there.
And I'm not. My point there was not to say that the Cowboys offense is trash. What I'm saying is, it's not like their offense is lighting the world on fire. Still, they are making crucial plays at crucial times, situationally, and that's great because that complements what the defense does. Their defense is great. And I was high on their defense early in the offseason, and that's been the main key of why they are now leading the division.
Yeah.
And so I am not surprised about their defense. Their offense has come out since the addition of Mari Cooper, and situationally has been great. But they're still not a high-scoring offense.
No.
So if our defense has come out and starts shutting them down and hold them to 10 points, 13 points, can our offense score more than that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's capable.
No,
I'm not saying it will happen. What I'm saying is that's why this is still a game. That's why this game we still, of course, could win this game. I don't think any cockroach out there is going to say that, oh, we're going to whip your ass. This is going to be a blowout. There's no contest. You know, they're not looking at the game. This is an evenly matched game. We have every chance to win this game as we ever did.
We got an advantage. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have an advantage in this football game. And that's a young football team, and you can smell yourself now in 10 days rest. You would actually want to play the next day when you win a game like that. So how does the time off affect them coming into this football game? The same as I thought it affected Washington coming into our game, right? So, I mean, it can affect you in different ways.
And keep in mind, look out for an emotional letdown a bit. Because when you're coming off a big win like that, a question mark that you always got to ask for the following game is, are they going to be emotionally exhausted?
Yeah, you get up again now.
You get up. Go ahead, try to get up.
Now, same goes for us.
Yeah.
But the difference here is, when it's hard to win back-to-back divisional games in this league, and we did it, which is big. Now, granted, both at home. How can we go play on the road? But I think offensively, I don't think. I know for a fact offensively, we're a lot better as an offense than they are. We have the capability to put up a ton on you. And we've always been able to score points against that defense.
Yeah.
Even at home, we put up points in the second half against that defense. And people around here like Jesse and my boy over on Instagram, Bob Chiroli, and a couple other Cowboys fans I know, you're going to act like this is the 85 Bears. Just slow it the hell down. Just slow it down. That's a good win Thursday night. That's a real good win. But now we're puffing chests like this is one of the best defenses of all time. They're good. They're tough. But let's not act like they're not even the top 5 in this league. So let's slow it down. That's all. I'm not scared. I'm not scared about this game. We're going to win because they're overconfident. Their fan base dictates how players play. I'm telling you. They're so overconfident, we're going to go down there and we're going to beat them.
We're underdogs again.
I love it. Keep us underdogs the rest of the year.
Do it.
You guys know how many times, by the way, the Saints got to Dak Prescott in that game?
A lot.
7.
A lot.
You think we're not going to be able to put up at least 5?
A lot.
What, sacks?
Yeah.
I don't know about that because I haven't seen enough of that. I mean, for 2 weeks I've seen, or I'm sorry, for 5 quarters I've seen more of it. Can I put it like that?
Yeah,
for 5 quarters consistently, I've seen the front four go get you a little bit. But I'm not Mr. like blitz all the time. But at times you gotta bring another guy, or at least show and back off. I think
disguise.
Yeah, you got to disguise more.
Disguise
like
more.
when you line up and it's 4 guys, and it's like,
and
okay,
my grandma could see that you're blitzing. That's a problem.
Or just the 4 guys are coming at you, and everybody knows it, and now your offensive line that has 5 on it can go, you got him, and there's no stunting, or at least when you're doing that, you got to do a lot of stunting and stuff like that. I'm okay with just rushing 4, but you got to move them. Guys just can't go in one spot, and now everybody knows who's blocking who.
Yep.
So you got to disguise that too. And at times I thought that's been real up front. I'm trying to think of the word, but just too plain.
Yes.
Too vanilla.
Well, of
too
course.
vanilla up front as
definitely.
a whole, that front seven.
No, definitely. And that's been one of my gripes when it comes to Schwartz is when it comes to blitzing, Brodo, me and you are on the same page. What is our gripe when it comes to blitzing? It's not so much the fact that we blitz so much.
No.
It's the fact that our blitzing is ineffective because it's plain Jane. So if you're going to be plain Jane about the blitzes, then you better not just blitz because they're going to exploit it every time. And that's why the blitz hasn't worked, is because it's plain Jane.
Yeah, but
there's no disguising.
I have no problem with you not blitzing either. Like I don't need you to bring 6 guys every time. I don't need you to bring 1 extra every time. Not with a front 4 like this. But you cannot be, like we talked about, you can't be vanilla with that front 4. The fourth quarter of the Giants game, they started stunting up front a lot.
Yeah.
Started getting guys in their place, and next thing you know, Eli's on his ass, right?
Yeah.
But for 3 quarters, they were on some milk cartons, like we love to say. Now, the last 4 quarters, I thought against Washington, who before the injuries has a good front 5, but before that, the guards went out. We still were getting pressure. We were still creating pressure with our front 4, and I thought he was moving guys around up there a little bit better.
Absolutely.
But so I don't need the blitz all the time. But once in a while, you can send an extra guy or bring guys like you're going to show blitz and back off. Just switch it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's it.
The biggest reason why that game, when we played them the first time, that's the main reason. If that doesn't happen, that's a completely different game.
Yeah. Well, listen, it all starts with that front 7 being able to stop the run, and then that second level being able to stop it too, or the third level. Yeah. Everybody needs to be able to stop the run. I thought Rasul tackled well this week. But we can't give up gashers like 90 like we did this week. Yeah. You don't want to do that down there on the road.
Yeah.
But we hope to get Jalen back, which could be an upgrade not only in the run game because he's good at the run stopping too.
Yeah.
But getting him back, we could be getting Avonte Maddox back too, and then we'll find out about Jordan Hicks, with that calf if he can play Sunday afternoon. But if he doesn't, I'm fine with it because he hasn't really. I think Grugier Hill played better. Honestly, I don't know if I want him back right now because he's played better defensively. He's tackled in the open field more. I just feel like I seen him more. I feel like Jordan I just haven't seen all year because of the Achilles.
I love the way Kamu plays, by the way.
Jordan Hicks will be a real good player next year wherever he goes, but because of the Achilles, this is just going to be that tough year for him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it seem like Nigel Bradham plays better when Jordan Hicks is nowhere to be found?
Right.
I mean, he played some of his best football when Jordan Hicks went out for the season last year.
I don't disagree.
Well, because now he's playing his spot.
Yes.
So that changes. He must play. He plays better in that spot.
I don't know.
And Kuma plays better. Whatever the hell. I can't even say his first name. Whatever.
Kamu Hill.
I love the way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Kamu is a star linebacker. I just love the way he plays.
Star kicker.
Yes.
Star kicker.
Well, listen, you see now some in the secondary when you ain't a high-priced guy or you're a guy now. He's not a guy going to get cut, but for some of the secondary guys that have stepped in here in the absence of some of our starters, you've seen a little fight.
Yeah.
Which I like. I mean, these are guys fighting for spots on some team next year, just on tape or whatever.
Yeah.
And you see some guys tackle well and do some good things back there. So there's something to be said for guys that aren't a star. Like, he's not a star player, but he stepped in well and he's owned that role. Every time he's been on the football field, he's made plays.
Making plays, yes.
I always see him. And it started in that Atlanta game when he got a little chance on that 4th down. I mean, you're like, okay.
I just wish he caught that pick 6 against Dak.
Completely different game.
That would have been the game changer. But Deion Brown says, Ertz is a beast. The only thing I want from him is way more yak yards and not catch and fall. But if you compare his current stats along with Tony Gonzalez's numbers in the first 4 years, Ertz is only numbers away. That's something about Ertz's ability playing that position in this league. Thoughts? I mean, it's a lot of people. I have a bunch of friends that we joke around about Ertz's lack of yak.
Yep.
I think he's starting to show a little bit of improvement, but I mean, that's just not him. Okay, like he is, like I said, the best route running tight end in the game. He will always get open. And if he can give you marginal yak, I take that any day. If he's always open, he's always open.
Yeah.
So that it is what it is.
I don't expect him to change that way. Like, he was more of a guy who caught passes late in games early on in his career, and it was like, okay, now you're showing up. So what he's learned to do is put it all together.
Yeah.
Besides breaking tackles and all that, but
yeah.
like you said, he gets open. So if you're getting open, and he gets open in chunk plays too. So he gains the yak because he has explosive plays from the tight end position.
Yeah.
Of 20-plus yarders, 15-plus yarders, big chunks, which help.
Kevin Godwin says, why are they not doing more two tight end sets to help protect and open more for Adams as well as Wentz? That's a question I have been asking, and the thing is because they want – I can't say why because no one knows why, but what I will say is what I've been saying for weeks is this team, this offense is one of the best, if not the best, 12 personnel team in the league. We are at our best when we run multiple tight ends. We are that good.
Well, I think we've ran. I saw last night that we ran a lot.
Oh no, we did run a lot.
Tight ends because Richard Rodgers
was on the field.
That helps you because you trust him in run blocking. That's helped your run game too a little bit. Yeah, he's made some good blocks.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago when we barely played 12. I think it was actually against the Cowboys where we barely played 12 personnel. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think there needs to – we did play a good amount of multiple tight end sets last night, which was great. I think it's just if you question why we're not seeing more, it's because you can't constantly – we run it average about like before the Tate trade. We were running at about like a 40-something% clip, which is by far the highest percentage.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean,
that's a lot. But
you can't go 2 more than that.
You can't do more than you can't run 2 tight ends more than
you could if Dallas was more advanced, but you can't expect him 12 games into his career as a rookie to pick up an offense where it takes most guys 2 or 3 years to even understand it. So you got to treat him just like a wide receiver in the fact that like that first year, unless you're Calvin Johnson, it's hard to show up that much. Now, if he was forced into the role because of Zach Ertz, then maybe you find out more. But I think next year you're going to get that wish a lot more than you get it this year.
Yeah, I think on a consistent basis you'll see the 12 personnel. I think Goddard is showing great stuff. I mean, run blocking.
Yeah,
he's already one of the best run blocking tight ends in the game, and he is more explosive. He's a more explosive athlete than Ertz. I think we all understand that. And I think him and Ertz together are going to be really, really good. But it's going to take time.
Yeah. They'll gel. They'll gel. I mean, sometimes you got to give the puppies time.
Exactly.
I can't rush a puppy. When I have this much talent. If I draft him in the first round as a top 10 pick, you better be playing.
Yeah.
Over somebody. Exactly. but for this kid, just give it time. He's got all the tools, and he can already do the hardest thing it takes from that position is to be able to run block it. He can do that well, like Chuck said.
And it's not every situation where a guy who we picked in the second round comes in and he's behind arguably the best tight end in football who has the best chemistry with the quarterback. Like it's
and a lot of
the offensive
parts.
Coordinator stinks. There's a lot of different elements.
He's behind the 8 ball when it comes to playing right away.
Yeah.
You're right on that.
Rob wants to ask you real quick. Carson Wentz on the first round pick for Mark Sanchez, deal or no deal?
Who asked me that?
It's Rob Termina.
Yeah, he's trolling.
I know.
He knows better than that, but that would be something you might post, Rob.
I know. It is. Christopher, Mr. Lyons, says, sick to think the Birds should be 9-3 or 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of close games that we didn't win. He's right. We haven't finished or started well. I'm not even going to say we haven't finished because I think we finished games well besides the 17-point blowouts. The losses. Yeah. Them 2 games. Them other games. Them other 4 games that we lost. Them games were games that we didn't start well at all. right? So I mean, if you factor in like the 1.9 in the first quarter points, the fact that we lost games this year is because we haven't scored in the first quarter.
Yeah,
we scored in the second half, or we scored in the second quarter, but we haven't put it together for a full game like I think we have offensively over the last two. I think we're getting closer to putting it all together.
Gaining momentum, exactly. Anything good on YouTube?
Yeah, they're flying over here, so I'll skim. I'll skim. So we got Khalid, David, Bryce Blackwell, Todd Womack all saying, "What's up, guys?" John D. Casanova as well. We got Two Gun Tommy in here. Right now, they're talking back and forth with Sean Taylor. He came in. He was classy. He said,
Sean Taylor was great last week, by the way.
Yes, he was very. He came in flying.
Week.
He said, "Congratulations, you guys earned it." And I said, "Thank you." You know,
classy
of him.
Classy.
Thank you for pretending.
See how long that lasts.
And he says, if it wasn't against a third string who hasn't played in 2 years, but congratulations.
Now it's Excuse City.
And then he says, good luck in Dallas while they're hot. Thank you. I don't know if we needed a ton of luck.
Well, are we not hot-ish? I think I said at the end of the video this morning, like we're hot-ish.
Ish.
Like we're ish-ish.
Hot-ish.
I mean,
hottest we've been all season.
Yeah. And two
Two
straight division wins make you hottish.
We can't win 3 straight if we don't win 2 straight.
Yep.
Nope,
I mean, that's just that you can't argue with those numbers.
Yep. And if we win Sunday, we're going now and beating them too. You want to write stuff down early? Write stuff down early. Because that place is going to be full with Eagles fans out there.
No, yes, it will.
So
yes, it will.
Harlem Cowboy joins us, by the way.
What I will say is the Rams' defense is suspect. If our offense can get clicking and we get in a shootout, much like we did last season, and Wentz knowing that's where he got hurt, you don't think he's going to be motivated to prove a point?
I feel like he wants to throw 5 in that game.
He wants to throw 5 touchdowns at the place where he got injured for the whole season.
Absolutely.
He'll be motivated. He's going to have an.
But it all starts. Yeah, I'm not running. I'm not skipping ahead too far. But it all starts Sunday. This is the way the season goes. Every week I'm going to do some sort of video saying we're going to find out the fight because the fight don't end because you win a couple games. The fight needs to continue.
Yep.
So at some point there's going to be something about we're going to find out how much fight this football team has.
Yes, exactly.
Because every week's a must win now.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
We can only afford maybe one non-divisional loss. One, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's a stretch because if we do one more loss, we still need the Cowboys to lose.
Yeah, 4-1 should get us. To me, I think the Cowboys are going to lose 2 games. I'm just telling you how this league works. They're going to lose to the Giants. You can write that one in too. Write that one in.
I would love
That's
to see
in
that.
New York. That's in New York.
I'm worried.
So that's not at
That
home.
is.
I don't know if they'll play Saquon in that game.
That's
That's
the
why I'm
only
worried.
2. Why wouldn't they though? They have nothing to.
They'd have nothing to play for, exactly.
But no, they're going to be like.
No, because that's a divisional game.
Yeah, they're
All
going
right,
to.
listen.
They're playing everybody in that
Yeah,
game.
I hope so.
Who are
Those
they?
are the only
Who are
2
they?
times.
You
The
don't
only
sit
2
guys
times
because you're losing.
Only 2 times I ever cheer for the Giants is when they play the Cowboys. I will be rooting hard for the Giants that game. David Guanzone says whatever coverage we use against Odell is what we have to use against Amari, which is bracket
Gotta
coverage.
do something.
Gotta do something.
Anything.
Amari's playing well. Deion Brown says time to move on from Jordan Hicks. I said this before and I mean it. Damn good player when healthy, but so is my Ford, and it's time to move on from that as well. Well, I don't disagree. Deion.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Before the Achilles injury, he always was around the football.
Yes.
So it's because he's a free agent next year, Deion. I don't know. I mean, depending on his price tag, if I can get him back for a good price, a prove it deal, I have no problem bringing him back. But he's always hurt. This goes back to
Always
college.
hurt.
This didn't just start.
Yeah.
This didn't just begin. But when he's healthy, really healthy, he's a playmaker.
I'll ask you guys this, and it's 2 separate positions, but on the surface it could seem foolish to even ask this, but I'll ask it anyway. At this moment, what do you think is more important if you're a GM or in the front office of the Eagles? Re-signing Hicks or re-signing Golden Tate?
Tate.
No, Tate, yeah, absolutely.
See, I agree. See, I could see people arguing, oh, well, linebacker's more of a need. You have Aguilar. But I agree Tate has –
Look at the talent.
Why, I agree.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
absolutely.
Yeah, look at the talent.
My buddy Josh Simonetti, who travels around on cruise ships all over the country, so
What?
he's chiming in. I don't know where he's at now, but he goes, guys, it's no secret. When we are balanced, we are dangerous. Last year proved it. And although Blunt and Jai aren't here, the improvement and commitment to Josh Adams and Sproles being back makes us more unpredictable. Sproles is a pass-catching back, but you can run him, too, as we did last night. Adams can do a little of both. Same with Clement. So he's right. You're right on, brother. You're right on. When you commit to it, and now you're a three-headed monster-ish back there in a way that you are now, because now you have three guys who can hurt you out of the backfield. So that makes defense coordinators have to plan for even more guys. So now think about the offense on how many guys that you have to plan for, because you just don't have to plan for one. You're just not going to go in the game saying we got to stop Zach Ertz. You got to stop Golden Tate on turf, okay, which I think he's even better on, which most guys are. You got to stop Nelson, Alshon, and now you have three guys out of the backfield that you at least have to concern yourself with.
Yes.
So, I think it's huge.
Yeah. So Harlem Cowboy, I got to read a couple of
Oh, he's back?
Yeah.
Harlem Cowboy is here?
He says, it's time, I'm back.
Woo!
And then he says, I hope Philly keeps throwing those screens so my linebackers can blow it up. Any retort to that?
Well, I mean, what do you want? I mean, you're going to run different plays in different games to the personnel you're going against and what they do well and what they don't do well. You know what I mean?
We'll see what the game plan. I mean, part of the game plan against the Redskins was to exploit their linebackers, because they're not the best in space. Really, they're horrible in space. So what do? You throw screens, and it wasn't. What was great about the screens we threw against the Redskins was they weren't your typical screens where the linemen peel out to the side, because that's a key giveaway. We all know that's a tick that where if the defense sees the linemen pulling out, it's a screen, they yell it. What happened was we oftentimes they were off play action, and the linemen were just pushing in their stance upfield, and then Carson would lob it over them to the running back or the tight end, whatnot, and that caught the defense off guard because you're not getting that read. You're not getting that tell of the lineman pulling to the sideline. So that's a good wrinkle. Now, against the Cowboys, maybe that's not there. It all depends on the game plan that they're going to put together. You got to hope that whatever they see. Now, personally, I wouldn't throw as many screens, because of what he said is it's a good point. It's a valid point. They have fast. Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch are very, very fast and quick.
Yep.
They will sniff that out. So I don't know.
They're also young, and you can get them on a lot of stuff too because they're young. You know
what you're gonna have to do is, I don't think it's necessarily the screen game primarily. I think we have to catch them off guard with a lot of misdirection, a lot of motion, and keep them off balance.
Keep their eyes moving.
Keep their eyes moving.
Yep.
Keep them thinking. Don't let them just man you up and then just beat you, because they are talented. We just got done talking about it. They are a talented defense. If you choose to play one-on-one with them all game, it's going to be very difficult. But if you can be creative enough where you can use a lot of motion, a lot of misdirection, get them thinking, that'll be a huge key, because then they can't use their athleticism to their advantage.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to pull that off. Kevion Goodwin says, "What's your thoughts on the Texans coming to town?" Well, we'll worry about that when we get there. But that's a damn good football team. But guess what? They got to travel here, and we'll see how we're playing.
We'll see how both teams are playing at that point. I mean, Texans are very good, but they're not unbeatable. Look at a lot of their wins have been close wins. They're a beatable team. They're very good, but they're a beatable team.
Yeah.
So. And
Justin Pope says, "I swear Dakota Rain is the trashiest QB in the NFL. 12 games, less than 300 yards passing. 4 of them less than 200. Spot on, my brother. You're 100% spot on. If they can't run the football, he's terrible, right? When they can run the football, he's not even average. He's just serviceable, right? But to me, he's the worst. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in football. Thrown with inside the pocket.
Yes.
Now, can he make some runs and hurt you that way? Absolutely, because he's an athlete. But inside the pocket, and even on the run, he's not consistent enough. Not as much as people think, or Harlem Cowboys going to tell you he's great throwing on the run. He's not. He's not. Don't overhype it, okay? He's not even average. He's not. So, and if you get pressure on him and you stop Ezekiel Elliott, you win the football game Sunday.
He has zero pocket awareness as well. Zero.
No, his clock isn't good. His clock isn't good. And we got to capitalize. We got to create turnovers.
And we're not – you know what's funny? You just said that. It's not just us Eagles fans saying it. You remember the guy on Elliot Harris on NFL.com, who I always rave about because he's a Cowboys fan, but he's not biased. Okay. He had Eagles at number 1 power rankings for most of this season last year. He knows his shit, and he's not biased. One of the things he said was when Dak fumbled that that ball late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He said what you said. He's like third year in the league and still no pocket presence.
Yeah, you can't fumble that ball there.
You can't
fumble that ball there. That's everything I need to know about
Start
you.
kicking people.
It's
Just
the
make sure you
truth.
continue to have that ball.
That defense bailed you out. That's all that happened.
Yeah.
That's
Drew
what happened
Brees
Thursday.
bailed him out, to be honest, with that throw.
Yeah, they bailed you out. So it's simple. He's not good enough. I'm not concerned. I don't go in the Cowboy week worried about him. I go in the Cowboy week saying, hey, can I stop that man in the backfield?
Yeah.
Because if I stop him, we win this football game.
Yeah.
If I hold him to 90 or under, let's say 100, 99 or under. If I keep him under 100 yards running the football, Zeke, we win this football game.
Absolutely.
You can't let him go for 140, 150 on your ass.
When we play Houston, by the way, that would be a great time to have a blizzard here.
Imagine.
First
Yes.
of the year.
Take it.
Deshaun Watson, the indoor team from Texas.
Yeah, but I want no parts of it. If we're out of it, then I don't even care.
Oh, yeah.
It could be 75.
I don't plan on being out of it, though.
I don't plan on either. I'm just saying to him, I don't want to jump too ahead.
Yeah.
I went as far as L.A. tonight. That's a long travel. I know.
Go ahead.
Chrome says Hicks and Ajayi will be back on prove-it deals. That's what he says.
I think more Ajayi maybe and Darby if you really want to get on the prove-it deals.
I wouldn't be opposed.
Howie loves corners.
It's just
Howie loves
And
corners.
they have the excuse because Darby got hurt.
Yep.
They have the excuse of unfinished business.
Yep.
Yeah. And he says, Chrome says, let Aguilar and Hicks walk if that brings back Golden Tate. What I will say, and I've been saying it, it's not that I disagree with that. I'm okay with them parting ways with Aguilar. The thing is, it has to be a trade. I keep telling people, I found out about they chose the team option for his contract. If they cut Aguilar, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of dead.
Oh, they're not cutting Aguilar.
So they're not. But that's what people have been saying. Like, oh, release, just cut him.
No.
The only way you can get rid of Aguilar is by trading him.
You can get Golden Tate back. How much do guys want to win? How much do guys want to stay in one place and try to win
you could be had for $8 million.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
the guy's made money over his career.
Yeah, Thanksgiving with Carson. I think they're fine with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's establishing a relationship. He's making sure he
tells
does.
you. And you know what, a quarterback, matters how much he likes you if you stay too. But no, I agree that you can get him on. You can get him for less money to stay here to try to put something together with Carson.
I would love to see that.
The guy's made money over his career. So we'll find out how much guys really want to win too. When you talk about Darby and Ajayi, how much you love playing in Philly. Because some guys are going to take maybe a little less. Yeah. A little bit less, which helps you cap-wise, a little bit less to stay somewhere and say, you know what, let's get back to it. We maybe not got back this year, but let's get back next year.
And I don't think we're in dire cap situation next season.
No, it's not.
Just
it's not
next
terrible.
season, we're not in dire cap.
It really comes up when Carson comes up.
Yeah,
and
which is if they use his team option, that's after 2020, I think, or after. I don't know. I got to look it up again.
No, I think you're right. You're right because they were talking about you could extend them over this summer and see if you can get it cheaper, but you're not going to get it cheaper, dude. You're going to be
They're going to exercise his option. That's the thing. I think, it's after 2020 because his rookie deal expires after 2019. And then if they exercise that option, it ends after 2020.
Yeah, listen, I'm not in the business of saying I have to pay you earlier out of good faith. You understand that, family? I'm not in the business saying I got to pay you early because I love you. I'll pay you during 2020, okay, before that season starts or before you can hit free agency. I'll pay you that summer, right? I'll pay you that summer, and that's my good faith. Make sense? I don't need to pay you this offseason. Out of a show of good faith. Make sense? I'm going to pick up your team options every year because obviously you're my guy and you're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I'll make sure you never hit free agency. But I'm not going to pay because I know what I have to pay. I'm going to have to pay top quarterback money. It might be the biggest when the time comes. But why do I want to pay that now? It's stupid. Here's a question. To have to pay now.
Here's a question that Greg actually brought up, and it was actually a good point. I didn't think of it. Do you remember? I think it was when Joe Banner was here. Oftentimes he would take our key franchise guys and lock them up a year or two earlier to bigger contracts so that they're cheaper than what they would do in their contract year. Do you think it would be a good move to sign Carson to give him that extension a year or two before so that extension is cheaper than what we would do if we were
It's a year before. It's a year before 2020. It's the summer before 2020. You'll never hit free agency here. Like, I'll never let you walk out
Yeah.
the complex ever, okay? Because I'll find you. I'll find you.
I don't think any fan would.
There'd be a riot.
Make sense. I'm making clear that what people know what I'm trying to say here. I'm just going to sign him the summer of 2020 before you hit it.
Yeah.
Before that last season hits,
Yeah.
you'll be signed, sealed, delivered for a long time.
Let's not worry about
Yeah,
it.
but I'm not going to do it 2 years early. Is my point, or earlier? You know what I mean? Like, why would I do it 2 years early? To put now it also depends on how you feel it adjusts your cap, but there's no reason to do it before the summer of 2020. You're paying him as a top quarterback no matter when you're going to do it. So just wait as long as you can so you can keep some more guys around because we see how important that is.
Chucks, I got to read this one.
Go ahead.
You're going to love this one.
No, go ahead.
So Sean Taylor says, they don't call us the sleepers of the NFC for nothing. Don't count us out yet. Hashtag they haven't seen the last of us. No, you just signed Josh Johnson. We've seen the last of you.
How long is Colt McCoy supposed to be
Sean
out?
Taylor on the Redskins.
Oh, he's back to this? He's back to still thinking he's in the
It's all he
dogfight?
has. It's all he has.
You got no shot. I wish I would. Listen, you had a real good shot before the Alex Smith injury. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a ton of credit. You were playing really good football and surprised a lot of people. But that time's over now.
I didn't think.
Just to clarify,
I didn't think
that
they were
time's
gonna,
over.
I didn't think they were going to win it with Alex Smith.
No, but I thought they were good. They were solid.
They were solid. Yeah.
They were
they
solid.
had
They
a
were
hell of a
tough.
lead, too. I mean, they were 6-2 at one
Yeah,
point.
they were tough.
Yeah.
You were worried about them.
As soon as their O-line, their O-line literally blew up in one game.
1 week, yeah.
So that's where it
Put a lot of
kinda-
hurt on them.
Yeah.
And the same thing with our secondary. And if you look at it, we got through, at least 1 week with all the backups, which is huge.
That's
and then
where
this
I was
week,
like,
you still weren't 100% back there, and you got through it. And then I'm telling you, getting Jalen, if we can get Jalen back Monday, that's bigger than getting back Avonte Maddox, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want Rasul playing because he tackles. I need guys who can tackle in open space.
Mm-hmm.
He was all over. He was
By
hungry.
the way, I'm starting to get a big like bone to pick with Rob because he's I'm talking about Brinkman because he's
What's he
on
being
this thing
negative
because he's being negative, of course.
Oh, yeah.
We've been messing each other and he said, I'm not high on Sidney Jones, which I will say, like, I understand it's for certain reasons, but one of his reasons is I don't think he's physical. Boy, Sidney Jones is one of the most aggressive corners on our team. Like, he is always mixing it up. He's always one of the first people against the run and run support. Now, if you want to say he takes sometimes he takes bad angles and sometimes his technique isn't all there, okay. But don't tell me he's soft. Don't tell me he's not. Don't tell me he's not physical and he's soft. That's totally wrong. I think now last night.
You'll see the real Sidney Jones next year. That's a long time after the injury. Now you're fully ready to go. You don't have to think about the injury. Go time, and then we'll find out.
Last night he wasn't really tested. He was never really tested the whole game. So I don't have anything to refer to in terms of coverage. But in terms of run support, he was all over the ball. And he took on a guard on one of the screenplays. A guard was out lead blocking, and he went, boom, right in his face and tried to get a hand on the ball carrier. Yeah. Don't tell me that's a corner that's not physical.
No, I thought our whole secondary's been physical.
Been physical.
That's what I like about all of them. That's why
like it.
When we argue whatever, but we can all agree on this. Like Jalen Mills, and when Darby was healthy, him too. Why we were so good in the red zone defensively is because they were physical, longer corners, and that played to their strengths. Now you're in a smaller area, and it just works better for them kind of guys, and that's what separated our defense. That's why I'm excited. It might be one of the few out there to get Jalen back because I know red zone time, that's where he plays his best football.
To be honest,
you can take all the rest and say whatever you want about it, but he tackles, and in the red zone is where, to me, he's going to make his money in this league. And saying, okay, you might get beat here and there on big plays, but when it shortens up, that's where you come to play.
We are still one of the best red zone defenses. Or I think we're like top 5 red zone defenses in the league. So that is a big part of what we do. And so Mills factors into that. I know we're up against
I like LeBron played well the other night. We want Jalen Mills back.
We want Jalen Mills back. Like someone was saying oh, we're all the Jalen Mills haters now. Like we sure want him back. Of course we want him back. We have practice squad players playing against the Giants.
Listen, we hate our family. It's what we do here.
You're comparing Mills to a practice squad player in
He sounds like
Devontae
a
Bosby.
fine wine.
Like, come
LeBlanc.
on. Of course I want freaking Jalen Mills back.
When you're at family dinners, you yell at family sometimes, okay?
Yes.
And that's all that was going. That's all that was going on with the fan base
Don't
here.
even get me started on the Corey Clement truthers that want to put me on blast last night because
Shucks, no, because we know what he does. He catches the ball well out of the backfield.
Yes.
Who's running from that? You want to run for something? He catches the ball well out of the backfield. That's his thing.
That's his thing. I get blasted for saying he can't make a guy miss in space. I get blasted for that.
No, I said
But
the
it's
same
truth.
thing.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Our reaction
So
was the same
don't
thing
even-
last night. Where are
don't
you going?
Like these Clement truthers are, I swear to God. But we'll continue that in the second half. Big Daddy, thank you so much. It
Great
was
show,
great to have
brother.
you.
Fun.
He is going to tag in
I'll let
Chrome.
Mr. Tag Team himself.
Tag team over here.
Wrestling promo. Felt right there.
But thanks to Tom for joining in. Thanks to all our sponsors. Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. And Specialized Physical Therapy LLC for the first half. Our poll questions brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Guys, we will be jumping over to the YouTube for the second half. So click on the link at the top. We have it available for you for the full show. Please don't go anywhere. We got a lot of stuff to talk about still. Still a lot of stuff to cover. We will be right back. What up, what up? Welcome back. Birds of a Feather on ATD Radio, live from the Real Talk Studios. Our sponsors for the second half, again, Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant, make them yours. And Specialized Physical Therapy LLC, find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Chrome's back. He's back from his work Christmas party.
I apologize, guys. You're stuck with me for the rest of the show, but at least it's a little bit more of a handsome version.
Ah, there it is. There's the shots.
You know.
Ginger Gang. So we're going to keep talking about Eagles reaction. Preview the Eagles-Cowboys game again a little bit, go around the league. But I wanted to start off the second half because I know those of you who are continuous listeners and tune into our show every week, which we do appreciate. You know me, and you've known how big of a Kareem Hunt guy I am. I wanted to quickly address that because some of you are probably curious of what my thoughts are. So,
come in. You need a hug.
Thank you.
You need such a hug.
It was
poor guy.
It really
he took it hard. He was taking it hard all week.
Yeah,
he's been taking it really hard.
And this is no lie because if you know me, I'm a very emotional person when I'm a fan of something, obviously like the Eagles and stuff, when it comes to Brian Westbrook. When I emotionally invest in a player or a team, I am invested. And you guys saw I had Kareem Hunt merchandise. I was always talking about Kareem Hunt. So he was my guy. I don't think you'd find a person outside of Kansas City that was a bigger Kareem Hunt fan than me. Maybe outside of his hometown too in Cleveland or somewhere in Ohio, I forget. But
was it like a week or two ago we were talking about his shirt that he was wearing?
Yeah, that I was wearing, yeah.
We had the whole debate about can he wear the jersey, can he not wear the jersey? And he said, oh, well, I'll get the shirts. And then he wore it, a week or two
Didn't
ago?
you have it last
week?
week?
Two of them, yeah. I had 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago I had, I wore two different
ones. And we were kind of happy for him. Not really. We still said it was a violation on our show. But
he seemed happy then.
He was a happier man then. Yeah, Chuck was a much happier man.
Yeah, so I mean, I will say this when I first saw it, because we heard about the incident, but from all the reports that happened back in January, February, there was nothing about it, and you were made to believe that nothing serious, there were no charges, no one was arrested, so you're like, okay, maybe it was just a mishap, something, no big deal. Tom posted the video on the A2D group. I watched it, and I was at work when I watched it, and I could not believe what I was seeing. And instantly, my mind kept telling me, okay, just maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's not that bad. But no, as I watched more and more, it was bad. And I'll say this. To anyone, especially Eagles fans, if any of you are amongst the ones that want him on the team, that thinks he should be signed, I am the biggest Kareem Hunt fan here. I don't want him. And it's because it's not that I don't, obviously it's not because I don't think he's not good. I think he's elite. He's great.
Super talented guy.
But it's a matter of enough is enough. There is no excuse for a guy to be hitting a woman outside of legit self-defense. If they're attacking you with their life, like a gun or a knife or something, or your physical well-being is in jeopardy, then yeah, you use self-defense. But outside of that, there's no reason or excuse for a man to be hitting a woman. If you believe that it's no big deal what he did, or that, hey, other players are in the league because they've done stuff, so he should be signed right now because we need a running back or anything along those lines, I really hope I don't cross paths with you is what I'll say. Because enough is enough with letting these players get by because they have talent. I was appalled when Jerry Jones signed Greg Hardy and called him a leader in the locker room after everything that was reported about him. And Greg Hardy's whole attitude, it wasn't just the fact that he did what he did. Greg Hardy was a scumbag, and you could tell when he talked. when he was on camera, when he was interviewed, you can tell he had no remorse.
No
and
remorse.
He was absolutely
None
the
whatsoever.
same scumbag. I was appalled when Jerry Jones signed him and called him a leader in the locker room.
Refused to accept any accountability whatsoever.
I watched the Kareem Hunt interview on ESPN, but I didn't watch it live. I had to wait until later that night because I had to emotionally get myself prepared to watch it. And again, I was appalled because I did not see someone who was genuinely upset or had a grasp of the situation he was in. And his choice of words, I don't know who his publicist is, but if his publicist told him to say those things, they should be fired. Because that was a horrible interview. And I think that people need to realize it's fine for him to get a second chance. I am fine with giving him a second chance. But he's got to earn it. Okay? Don't compare him to Michael Vick. Because when we signed Michael Vick, he had done 2 years in prison. He lost all of his possessions. He was in debt, lost all of his money. He lost everything, and he served his time. And when we signed him, it was for we signed him as I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like a rehab kind of rehabilitation kind of thing where we're going to get you on our team and try to help you get your life back together. And he was an advocate for doing all those things against dogfighting. And he said all the right things, and he became a mature leader for the team. The team constantly spoke about his leadership and how he matured and how he's a different person. He was mentored under Tony Dungy. He did everything right. He earned his second chance. I don't want Hunt smelling a sniff of a football field. I don't want Hunt signing with any team until he proves that he can earn that second chance. And that's my stance with every single player that does something like that, is they have to earn their second chance. Because everyone else in real life, we have to earn our second chances when we do something fucked up like that. Why do NFL players get a pass when it comes to that stuff? So when it comes to the Kareem Hunt stuff, that's my stance. I was a huge fan of the guy, and on Thursday, trust me, it hit me hard. It really hit me hard because I supported this guy. But I don't want anything to do with him, and I am appalled by anyone else that does.
All right, yeah. So I guess I'm coming in hot, man. Yeah. I'm coming in from a night of drinking at my Christmas party, and I got to talk Kareem Hunt. No, I'm good. Listen, you go back and you watch the video of the Kareem Hunt incident, and by the way, taking into account the possibility of the woman's end of it, and if she used language that she should not have used, I'm not absolving her by any means.
Nope.
But we're talking about Kareem Hunt's situation right now. And the problem with these NFL players, and not just NFL players, in professional sports, is these guys build these egos, and they are above the law, or they're above anybody else, and it's like they can go and do whatever they want. And that's not the case. Domestic violence in this country is a major issue right now. And when I see this situation, and listen, if she said that, I can understand the frustration and whatnot. But if you're any kind of a mature human being, you understand you have everything to lose. Everything to lose. And you know what? If she made a drastic decision by uttering the words that he states that she said, her time should come too, and that's something she's going to have to live with. And believe me, people are going to look at her in a different way, but she's not going to be in the spotlight. I absolutely, you know what? People talk about Jason Witten and his commentary on Monday Night Football. The most poignant things I heard him say last night was addressing the Reuben Foster issue. And the fact that he absolutely denounced the fact that the Redskins went immediately out and picked up this guy. It was a trend. And it becomes a trend for a lot of these people. And that's a problem. And we're talking about, it wasn't just that Kareem Hunt threw one of his guys into this woman, which clearly threw her into a wall. He went back for another kick in the head. What kind of a man are you? At that point, the situation should have been done, diffused. Maybe he would have had a case of an argument. Listen, I was fired up, did whatever, threw the guy into it, whatever. But the fact that he went back for a kick, and I believe it was Linda Long in one of our conversations on Facebook who went back, and she made a great point. That, to me, tells me that this guy, A, has an anger issue, B, this is probably not the first time that this guy has either done this or has had this mentality that this is okay.
Yeah.
And that's a major problem. And the fact that anybody out there thinks that it's okay because someone has some talent carrying a football on a field, that absolves them and they should be rewarded, you're a sick fucking person. And you know what? You're a crumb. We use the word crumb all the time here, and we use it kind of in jest. I don't mean that in jest. You're an absolute crumb. Mm-hmm. These people, and you, I'm glad that you touched on Michael Vick, because Michael Vick is the one athlete of all of these professional sports that there was no favors given to this man. Michael Vick had the hammer brought down. He was, and by the letter of the law, was given one of the more severe, if not the most severe, that he could have gotten for what he did. And he never said a word. He never pawned off any blame on the people that he was around and all this and that. He accepted the accountability. He rehabbed himself, which is what we always talk about, what the prison system is supposed to be about, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that there's issues that it doesn't always do its job. Michael Vick is a prime example of somebody that the prison system did its job. Mm-hmm. He came out. And not only that, look at the statistics of when Michael Vick came out of prison, and you look at just in Philadelphia. People don't realize that Philadelphia, which I didn't know, was a big dogfighting area apparently. The numbers, the statistics went down when Michael Vick was here in Philadelphia and was an advocate against it. He went out into the community. He understood that there were people who were going to accept his apology and his actions to try to absolve a little bit of that. And he understood that there were people that were never going to accept him after that. But he never shied away from that, and he put himself out into the forefront of this. He accepted the accountability, and the numbers were proven. The statistics of dogfighting in Philadelphia went down when Michael Vick was here, and Michael Vick advocated against it. Mm-hmm. So anyone that wants to use Michael Vick as an example, you're an idiot. You don't pay attention. You don't know what's going on. You're either a troll or you're just a dummy. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm not a person that goes after people usually on this show or any other show, but I am so sick of people who want to stand on their soapbox and have an opinion about something, and it's totally uneducated. So I look at Kareem Hunt, and I agree. I am not saying that this guy doesn't deserve a second chance. And I think the problem with Ray Rice was people were saying, well, Ray Rice was worse. He punched his wife right in the face. There's no worse.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's domestic violence. But the issue with Ray Rice was late in his career. This is a young kid that has an opportunity now to step away, self-reflect, figure out, what do I need to do? How can I use my platform now to make a difference in this? How can I figure out why I did this thing and what can I do to make myself better? And he could be, a better person. He can come back into the league when the time is right and make a difference on the football field. But you're not handed anything. Kareem Hunt is not handed anything. And anybody who thinks he should be handed anything because he can carry a football, you're an idiot. And that's the bottom line. They need to start towing the line with these people who think that domestic violence is okay. And I don't – listen, that doesn't absolve any accountability from any women who instigate it. There's guilt on both parties, and both people should be dealt with accordingly.
Exactly.
But what we care about is the people who are in the forefront, like a Kareem Hunt, like a Michael Vick back in the day, like a Reuben Foster, like a Greg Hardy, and so on, a Ben Roethlisberger, a Kobe Bryant. All these guys need to face the music, and that's just the way it is. We're not absolving the women. If there's anything that these women have done, they deserve it too. Just because somebody hits you doesn't mean you should just hit them back either. I'm not saying and in certain cases, like you said, like I saw nothing in that video that instigated the second kick.
No, it came back for more.
Yeah, and that's where it turned. I can understand. I could even in a very, I mean, it'd be tough for me if you say, listen, I'm fired up. I threw the dude into the girl. I didn't even realize she was going to whip into the wall. But you went back for a second kick in the head. Mm-hmm. What a fucking asshole.
The one thing, if I can, if it's all right, the one thing I'll add to this, and I'm not one, I agree with you, I'm not one that targets people who have stances or different opinions, because that's what we do here. We're supposed to have opinions and different opinions.
We have fun. I respect it. I never go after people.
No.
If I call you an idiot, it's a joke, and I tell you it's a joke.
But there's
never once on this show have I actually gone after somebody.
But
I mean that shit when I go after those people.
There's certain things that transcend the world of sports. We have to all remember, and I'll get to those people in a moment, but we have to remember that this football, baseball, soccer, hockey, any sport, it's a game, ladies and gentlemen. It's a game. It's meant to be fun. It's not the entire life.
It's entertainment.
I understand there's an old quote in sports history that goes along saying that winning isn't the only thing, or winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. That's fine and everything. But ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about this situation with a football team, you need to stand for something. And this is not something that you support. And I'm not saying if there's a team down the line that signs him after a certain amount of time that they support this. I'm not saying that at all. But over the last, ever since what was it on? Saturday? Friday,
Thursday.
Saturday? Thursday?
Yeah.
I've been seeing people in chats, in comment section, people I know personally, people on that share this platform with us that have tried to make the stance, forget about wanting him. Whatever. We'll agree to disagree on that. But to make the stance that the people who don't want him are crazy, idiotic, and clearly don't want their team to win. Well, I'll look at any one of them through a camera lens right to the face and say that if you say that, you are not a man if you say that. Because men don't do what Kareem Hunt did.
Not even a man. You're not a fucking sensible human being. A sensible human being.
And what I ask of those people who want to call individuals that don't want any part of Kareem Hunt or anyone that's in a situation like that, let me put you in a situation very quickly here. Imagine that woman who, she was wrong in the situation. No one said she wasn't.
Yep.
Imagine that was your daughter, wife, best friend, sister, anybody that you know. Would you be okay with Kareem Hunt being on your team? No. Nobody is saying she was correct.
Because he's a great guy, a great football player.
Because he can run fast and he can hold a ball.
Right. That's it.
And because of that, because people are talented in this world, I've seen it all over the place in sports. Just because you're good at something, you get paid a lot of money, you're untouchable, and you get paid special treatment. It's not right. So for anyone that wants to call us crazy, saying that, we would rather stand for something and bring up something that is clearly wrong, and you want to say that we don't want our team to win, well, I'll just say it very, very clearly. There's a difference between winning and winning like that.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I would rather lose with quality human beings than win with a bunch of assholes.
Yep.
Let's even go beyond that. One thing, I think that the Phillies are crazy for wanting Machado. And the reason I do is because I think that Manny Machado has he's an absolute egomaniac. And it's very clear from his comments, which has very much hurt a lot of his value. If you read a lot of things, a lot of teams are gun-shy to sign this guy because he's not a guy who's willing to go on the field and put 100% into it. And that I have an issue with. I mean, if they sign him, that's still great for them, but I would have question marks, major question marks. You think I want a guy on a team who is a young kid, somebody put in here, he's 22 and probably doesn't know any better, and if he didn't get caught on video, he wouldn't have known any better. I'll have to read whose comment that is.
I'll add,
but that's very clear. Do you think I want a kid who doesn't know any better, or a guy or a man, anybody, who can't accept accountability for what they did?
Well, let's bring up the side thing, too.
Get the fuck out of here.
And I'm all for people who say everyone is allowed to get a second chance. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll add one thing.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a second chance, but there is a penance that everybody has to deserve.
Is it his second chance, though?
We don't.
He allegedly has a history of this situation.
But that we don't 100% know.
But
this is the first time he's getting punished for it. So in that, like, sometimes you do have to get punished in order to realize what you've done.
And
so
listen, at the end of the day, in a year or two, if he clearly does things to prove that he truly believes he was wrong, then a conversation could be revisited at that time.
Exactly, yeah.
But my entire point, I'll end it with this. It's extremely irresponsible for someone to tweet, pick up a microphone, whatever, say to their friends, when you clearly don't know the full story and aren't educated in the topic, that we 100% should pursue him so we can win a game.
I'm just gonna put it simply like this, because let's take out that it's a professional sport. Mm-hmm. Whatever your occupation is, there's a person that you know who's very good at their job for a competing company, and all of a sudden you hear he's been fired from his job because of a domestic dispute or whatever it is. Now your company is going against those things because a lot of companies now won't even hire people when these kind of issues come up, right? So let's just say, do you want someone who you know has done something? It is physically there. You can watch the action happen on video. Is that somebody you want to stand next to every day or watch every Sunday or whatever it is? Is that somebody that you want there who hasn't had to serve their penance to accept accountability first? You want to, because I can tell you right now, with my job field, if I know somebody's done that stuff and they accept no accountability for it, and they have a history of it, and now somebody irresponsibly on my company just brings them on, that's a poor reflection on me. Mm-hmm. What does that say about the company I work for, that I work for them and they're willing to take on this kind of an issue without even thinking about it? That's a problem. Yep. Take out that it's a professional sport.
Just apply common sense to it.
It's a common sense thing. That's it. I'm done with it.
Alexander Virgie says, I don't think he should be absolved, but his career shouldn't be over because of one incident.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're right on that.
100% correct.
But it's on him to rehab himself. He continues saying, then we should fire cops, doctors, and everybody else who does it and tell their kids your daddy shouldn't be able to work to feed you because he hit a woman. Come on, for real.
There's so many things wrong with that.
I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to get into a big political debate about these things. Anyone who does anything wrong, any domestic violence issue,
should be fired.
Or any of these things, you're absolutely right. They should be fired. They should have to serve whatever punishment comes their way. And then, like any of the rest of us, if I beat my wife, I'm not married, but if I was married and I beat my wife, or I kicked my wife, or I kicked my girlfriend in the fucking face, went back for a second shot and kicked her in the face, guess what? I should be punished for that. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I should understand that what I've built now for myself in my personal life, making a decision like that is going to have a domino effect.
Yeah.
If he ends up working at McDonald's, that's no different than any other Joe Schmo on the street. In the end of it, take out the sports, take out my professional career, your professional career, yours. we're all on the same level. We're human beings, and we should all be held to the same accountability. So I don't disagree with you that anyone in any of those job fields who does that kind of stuff wrong absolutely should be held accountable, and they shouldn't hold the posts that they have.
You got like
that. Again, I don't want to get into a big political debate. I'm not going to get into cops and all that stuff. But just taking people for people, you're 100% right in the sense that they should be held accountable. And there are jobs out there that people can do that don't necessarily hold a criminal record. So
stop making it seem like we're saying his career should be done.
No.
We're not saying that.
No, he's a young kid. He should learn.
I said from the very beginning,
have the opportunity.
He's got to earn his second chance. And that's the thing. Anyone that does what happened to the world where if you do something wrong, you got to pay for it. You have to. You learn. I learned when I was in.
Welcome to the millennial world.
Like when I was a young kid in elementary school, you do something wrong, you got to pay the consequences. He did something wrong.
Hey, man.
He's got to pay the consequences before he has any right to go back in and continue his career. Like, it drives me nuts that you think that just because he can hold a football or that because he's good at something or that, like, you know, he's a young kid that he should be on the field or he should be playing still because of one mistake. It's one grave mistake that he has to be punished for. And yes, there are plenty of other scumbags in the NFL. Did I ever say that I'm advocating for them? No. If you go back to the draft, I know I wasn't with A2D, but I didn't want Joe Mixon because of the stuff he did in college. I didn't want him. I am a person that I look into character issues when looking at a player. Any questionable character issues about a player that comes up, they're immediately red flagged for me. I don't want them.
Yeah.
So I'm consistent. I don't want players like that. And, you know, the fact that if they're in the league, they're in the league. Maybe they did their time and that's why they're back in. But that's the whole thing. You got to do your time and you got to earn your way back in.
This is a sport. This is entertainment. In the end of it, it's entertainment. And for me, I have a moral stance. I do not believe in domestic violence from a man or from a woman. And if anybody who does it, they should be held accountable. And again, we're not saying this kid doesn't deserve a second chance. He absolutely does. But he needs to step away from the game. He needs to reflect on what he's done, and he needs to figure out what do I need to do to serve my penance for this. Whether the NFL says, hey, man, step away, go to counseling, figure that out, and then we want you to speak against domestic violence. If that's what he needs to do to keep his job, to be able to come back into the league, he should. And I want him to do that. Listen, in the end, anyone who does bad things or makes poor decisions, I'm not a person that immediately writes people off.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a repeated offender, to me, you're just a person that's just never going to figure it out.
I'm a very forgiving
but
person.
I am absolutely forgiving. And I believe that this kid absolutely deserves a chance to come back into the league. But to say he doesn't have to be held accountable right away and immediately, people should be pining for him, and then judge us who believe that the kid should be held accountable, that's where I sit here and say, you need to look in the mirror.
Yeah. I'm going to do two more responses, then we'll move on because we got on this way too long. Harlem Cowboy just asked, where was the punishment for Big Ben? I don't remember exactly what happened with Big Ben in terms of punishment, but if there was no punishment, then I'd be against that too.
I am not a Big Ben fan, and
he should have gotten. Yeah, I've never been a Big Ben fan too because of what he did, and if there was no punishment, that's wrong. But just because there was, that's what I said at the beginning. Enough with with giving players a pass. I know there have been times where players have done right and gone away with stuff they did wrong. That doesn't mean it should keep going. There has to be a stance. You have to start somewhere. It's not start somewhere, but you have to start drawing the line. If players have to stop getting away with it. And Foolish Demon says, I think Mixon was different. I'm consistent too. A woman should not get in a guy's face and not expect the same treatment a guy would if he did the same thing. And we've been saying that. Like, we are not
Dude,
absolving
I got guys that get in my face.
I'm against women being physical against men too. I'm not absolving any woman that comes up and starts beating on a guy and expects that they shouldn't get an ass kicking too. Like, if you are physically harming a guy, he has the right to defend himself.
Yeah.
So women don't have the right to be they should be held accountable too. But violence in general, especially when you are a man who is bigger and stronger and you are a football player like Kareem Hunt, you should not be. You have no excuse to hit.
I'm even taking that out. I'm just looking at this. Let's isolate this situation. I told you, if what she said instigated it, which is a totally whole other conversation, which she's absolutely wrong for, if that's true, she should have to serve her penance too.
Yeah.
But he went back for more.
Yeah,
that's where the game changed for Kareem Hunt. He could have had an argument for himself. And some of us still would have said you still should have to you should still have to serve your thing. But I could understand more of an argument on his side, but he went back for more. Like, clearly went back for more.
Yeah.
And that changes the game.
Yep.
Did you guys hear about the
And
Markel Fultz thing?
as far as we're going to get to that.
As
far as the Big Ben thing, I'm not a Big Ben fan. I wasn't before. And then when that came up, Chucks will tell you this. The character to that guy, for me, is
he's
done.
a scumbag too.
Yeah.
He's a scumbag.
You'll never hear me say anything good about Big Ben on this show, and that's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. I think the issue with that was there wasn't enough evidence or whatever, and I think he kind of got let off. I mean, they say innocent until proven guilty. To me, that guy was definitely guilty. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
But Chucks is right. You can't just say because one guy got let off, another guy shouldn't. At some point, you have to say enough is enough, and guys need to be held accountable so this stuff stops happening. And it's not just football. It's not just professional sports. This stuff happens in real life.
Yeah.
People need to start holding accountability for these people.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
So
Man,
we appreciate. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I know that was a heavy topic.
Fuck, man. You bring me in after a night of Christmas party, drinking.
I had to address it. But I know you just walked in. Obvious.
I'm going to give you my quick reaction in the Eagles-Redskins game. I saw a lot of improvements in the game. For me, Carson looked a lot more comfortable. It seemed like Rasul Douglas had a great game. One of the best games I've seen him have since he's been in the NFL. He seemed to always be around the ball. I heard Tom talking about, at least he's a guy who tackles. You've seen him out there making plays, tackling.
That's why I think he should be a safety.
Thought the secondary looked a lot better this time around. I enjoyed seeing how they are now implementing Golden Tate. I still think he should be the slot receiver, but if you're not going to use him as the slot receiver, kind of using him in that short game and letting him with that incredible ability to obtain yak after the play. I thought that they used him really great in the short game and maximized him. Carson clearly was more comfortable with him. Josh Adams, another great ball game from him.
Been impressive.
He was very, very impressive. Continue to give him the football. Corey Clement had a really good game. A lot better than we've seen. Really good out of the passing game. Still at times some impatience, but that seemed to be much better this week.
It's the same problems, but at least now he has – it looks like he's getting healthier, and so he has a little bit more explosion. And
yes.
So when you get him in the screen game, and you get him like in space, he can eat up yards. He's not going to make people – he's not going to force any missed tackles. But it is what it is. I mean, like, he's still a good passing down back.
Darren Sproles, I mean, listen, I was impressed this week. I worried every time he came out of a play that we were going to have another hammy issue. But listen, I mean, Sproles, he had a spark behind him. It definitely sparked the team. It sparked the running game. There's no doubt about that, so that's exciting. And the return game as well. What else was I going to say? The defense was a little more simplified this week, which I thought was really good. They still play too far back, which drive for me, for my liking, and it drives me a little bit crazy. But I kind of agreed with Tom when he was talking about Jalen Mills. Again, I'm not a Jalen Mills fan this year. I still think there's a lot of talent there. He's a very physical back. But I do agree with Tom that when you come down to that red zone defense, and the reason he's so good in the red zone is because, he gets burned on so many plays. There's only so much ground he can't get burned. Yeah. But that physicality really comes into play there.
It shines in the red zone, yes.
So I think that's going to be, if he's coming back this week, hopefully he is, that's going to be a huge addition. Overall, much better coached game. Second half adjustments from Doug were much better this week. And I thought that the Eagles they carried the momentum. We talked about it where they couldn't establish the running game. And I felt like coming out of that Giants game, that second half where they finally started to establish the running game opens up the passing game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Zach Ertz, good Lord.
The man.
Let's listen. I'll tell you, he came into this game with 84 catches left. He had nine catches in this game. He's at 93 now. Congratulations to Zach for having the single season record for the Eagles. It almost felt like he was so targeted so much and making plays. It almost felt like he was going to break the record that night. Like, it was crazy how many times he was targeted and the big plays that he made. Overall, really strong win. And to go back, and I don't know if you guys read my comment on Facebook earlier, but I did respond to Sean Taylor, who talked about congratulations on beating the third-string quarterback, yada, yada. Well, that third-string quarterback faced third, fourth, and fifth-string fucking defensive backs. So congratulations to him for kind of looking halfway decent. The only reason he looked halfway decent is because Adrian Peterson ripped off a 90-yard fucking touchdown, which was awesome to watch in hindsight now because we won the game. To see a guy at his age and see him still have that explosion or that explosiveness, it was a cool moment, I guess, for him. So, overall, enjoyed the game. A lot more highs than lows. The interception in the end zone was god awful from Carson. I don't know what he was looking at. Immediately text Charles. I'm like, what the hell was he looking at?
Forced it. That
was bad. But overall, I felt like they built off of that Giants game, which you need to. When you start ripping off games in a row, it's building confidence. And I feel like they're starting to have a more well-rounded game.
Yeah.
This may have been their most well-rounded game in a while.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Since what? The Giants game where we blew them out? Yeah.
So yeah. That's kind of my quick off-the-cuff reactions to that stuff.
Yeah. Foolish Demon says Zach Ertz is officially elite. I think he's been officially elite since last year.
Can I say though, I really enjoyed the story from Jason Witten, from the tweet from Zach Ertz holding the jersey up, and the fact that he never did a jersey exchange until last year, which ended up being his last game, and also the fact that obviously Zach Ertz. Witten was one of the guys that he idolized. And in my opinion, Tony Gonzalez and Jason Witten are the two best tight ends of all time. You could throw I don't know. I feel like.
It's fine. I was asking.
I don't know how Gronk would be without. Gronk is a physical specimen, but I don't know how Gronk would be without Tom Brady throwing him the football.
They have a great record without Gronk, by the way.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. So that's the big difference. And Gronk was
because who's their coach?
But Gronk's been constantly hurt his entire career too.
Yeah, that's a big knock.
So, Gronk, I hold Gronk into the next level. It's like Gronk, maybe Antonio Gates, those kind of guys you start looking at. But I really enjoyed how he talked about in his later years when he started watching films of other guys to see what he could pick up on to help his game out as he got older. And he talked about how he watched Zach Ertz and how he thinks Zach Ertz is going to be, elite. And I really enjoyed a lot of that. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. I can't say much of that because I muted the TV.
I think, you missed, I will say you actually missed a lot of really good stuff. This was one of the better broadcasts in money. And it's not because it was an Eagles game. I'm talking about from the stories and stuff that they would talk about in there.
You mean the 100 Jason Witten stories?
but a lot of them involve like Zach Ertz and all that stuff. Of course. Well, in fairness to them, when you're talking about a guy who is chasing his record, you know they're going to bring up a lot of Jason Witten stuff.
What about? That's fine. And we'll agree to disagree on the broadcast, but this is my no huddle. That's why I'm elaborating.
Okay, well, that's good. We're jumping into no huddle anyway.
Explain to me why in the third effing quarter they start talking about the Chargers and the Rams.
I will explain to you. Because ESPN, I think this crew is done after this season.
Well, they can't because Witten has a 3-year deal. They have to keep him around. They have to keep him around for another.
You're right. Okay. I believe they realize that Witten sucks at breaking down game. Breaking down the
He's no Tony Romo.
He's no Tony Romo. I think that's clear.
And listen, I hate quarterback Tony Romo. I love broadcasting Tony Romo.
Oh, I love it.
He's great.
I believe that ESPN is now their blueprint for these broadcasts is let's get Jason talking as little as possible about the game. Have him have his scripted stuff where he can just talk about this and this and this and this, and that'll be it. That is why. It's because Jason Witten and Boog and Mr. Boog there on his Boogmobile, I think they know that they suck. They can't break down games. So the production, if you compare, like, take ESPN production on Monday nights to NBC's production on Sunday nights. On Sunday nights, their production is let's break down the game. Let's replay this play from every angle. Let's have Collinsworth break it down, show why this happened. It's totally night and day from ESPN.
Whether
ESPN,
it's accurate or not, his description, that's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do, exactly. But ESPN, they know they can't really break down the game. So we're going to have this story here. We're going to talk about the AFC here so that they don't have to talk about the game because they know they're not good.
See, that's a fair point. Couple things. I'm blanking on her name. What's the name of the woman who's like the half
sideline?
No, like the halftime.
Susie Colbert?
Was it Susie? We'll say it was Susie.
I forget. I haven't watched ESPN like that in a while. So
no offense to Susie, but she was on something during that broadcast. If you go back and listen,
I didn't really
very
watch.
talented
I
at
don't
what
know
she
if it was
does.
Susie.
I was late to the.
Sorry if it wasn't Susie, but
I was late.
We'll say it was Susie.
I was late to the holiday and decorating my tree during halftime
You're
last
very
night.
lucky.
So.
And listen, no disrespect, Susie.
Lisa
if it was
SJM,
Lisa
I'm
Salters,
sorry,
that's
Lisa.
right.
Lisa.
Thanks, SJM.
Thank you, SJM. Lisa. No disrespect to Lisa. I'm sure she's very talented. She was on something. And if you disagree, go back to when she introed the whole Captain Marvel trailer. Oh, sweet Jesus. That's number one. Second.
By the way, that trailer looks awesome, by the way.
I disagree.
Oh, I think it's
weak.
Really?
It's weak. Thank
no
you, Bruno.
charisma.
Nothing. There's nothing exciting about that movie.
That could have been the Avengers 4 trailer.
I think it's going to be really good. Did that drop?
It's supposed to happen tomorrow night.
No.
Okay.
I might be giving
saw
a live reaction
somebody
tomorrow
post something. Oh, my God.
I don't know what they usually do it during games. I don't know what game is so big tomorrow that they're going to do it. Maybe an NBA game, whatever. Semantics. That's a fair point, Chucks, and where they could be formatting it like a morning show in the middle of a freaking broadcast. Yeah. To me, I think they just ran out of stuff to say.
That's possible too.
Because if I'm a producer at ESPN or if I'm in the room, I'm thinking, okay, let's find every storyline involving the two teams. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason Witten, but David Rusk. There's a lot of storylines with the Eagles because, I don't know, they won the freaking Super Bowl last year. There's a lot of storylines with the Redskins because they've had 100 quarterbacks this year. There's a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to Kareem Hunt and the Chargers and the Giants. Save that for the morning show. Save that for Scott Van Pelt in an hour. You understand?
Yeah.
That broadcast sucked.
I know it sucks.
We'll agree to disagree.
I'm talking more about from the story basis of what they usually tell.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the stories this way. And maybe it's because they were basically blowing Ertz the whole time. But I really enjoyed
I get it.
I thought that the stories were really interesting in that sense of those kind of things.
Oh, look what they're doing in the chat.
What is it?
I started something.
Did you really?
I'm sorry. Now comparing every female sports
Roscoe.
broadcaster in the business.
I still Taryn Hatcher's still my girl.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Roscoe, by the way, I did watch Creed 2. I loved it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Careful, Chucks. I have not seen it yet.
I'm just saying I loved it.
Don't spoil.
Don't
he
pull
asked us
Roscoe.
on lazy booking. We haven't seen it yet,
Yeah,
Roscoe.
don't
We'll
worry.
get there.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Do we want to briefly talk about Markelle Fultz?
You can do what you want. I can extend by 5.
Markelle
I
Fultz is.
I have 2 topics, but we can start with Markelle Fultz. Yeah.
So why don't you? What was the exact diagnosis?
Oh.
Let's look it up because I have no clue what that what that
second.
diagnosis
Listen,
was.
Let me get the old dictionary
I'm gonna
out.
preface this by saying I'm done with this kid, and maybe it's not totally
You've
on
been
him.
done with this kid.
But it's,
I know you have.
and maybe it's not. I think the more I think about it, though, I don't think this kid was like a head case coming into this, but he's had so much given to him at such a young age, and has had such piss poor advice given to this kid that I think his mind's off the rocker at this point. And I look at this, and first of all, it turned into he's going to see a shoulder specialist. And then it turned into it's going to take longer because he's seeing multiple specialists, unspecified. To me, this is a kid or a kid who is being guided to find something that isn't there, and they're going to continue to go and see people until it fits the narrative that they need it to fit. For everybody who said that his agent, who everyone at first it came, his agent, a lawyer, this and that, what's that? To me, he might be his agent, but he's giving him a whole lot of lawyer talk in his ears. And there's a big problem there. And at this point, I got to figure out how you cut bait with him.
Oh, well, you can't do that right now. You can't do that right now.
No, and I'd read this week that there were teams interested in him.
Not anymore.
I think Phoenix was one of the teams.
Well, I would go over.
But what I had read was that the very popular opinion was that people don't trust him.
No.
They want to know exactly what's going on. They don't want this flip-flopping, all this stuff. If it is a shoulder injury, fine. Teams might still be willing to take the kid on and rehab him. But they want to know, is it a shoulder issue? Is it a head issue? So they know how to proceed. Even if it was a head issue, I read there was teams that were still interested in him. But they wanted to have a definitive answer. And to me, this does absolutely nothing to get any clarity to anything. When you sit there and say he's going to see one specialist. And by the way, these guys don't see a specialist who's sitting on the corner of fucking on Passyunk Avenue or sitting down in South Philly. Like, these are seeing the best specialists in the world. And the fact that it takes a week long to find anything, and then when they find it, it's something that half or more than half of the nation doesn't even know what the hell it is, that's a problem to me.
So the exact diagnosis is thoracic outlet syndrome. The description is it's a group of disorders that occurs when blood vessels or nerves in the space between your collarbone and your first rib are compressed. This can cause pain in your shoulders and neck and numbness in your fingers, which explains, like, don't get me wrong. Am I trying to say that this is a lie and he doesn't have that? No, I think he does have that, to be honest, because it explains that an injury like this, which it affects baseball players as well, mainly pitchers, it will affect you the most when you are stable, when you aren't moving around. Well, what does that affect the most? Foul shots, jump shots. So I believe, legitimately, I don't think this is a fake thing, to be completely honest with you. You know what I think it is?
I'm skeptical.
I'm not. But what I will agree with you is that the trust in this kid, and it's not, in my opinion, all his fault. I just think he just doesn't have a backbone, to be honest, and I think he's just a follower, not a leader. And that's fine. Not everyone needs to be a leader, but he's clearly a follower of the wrong people. I think it's an example of, I'll just give him another diagnosis. It's the Sixer syndrome. I said it last week.
The Sixers.
Again. And I'll do it again tomorrow.
I think I just snorted.
Embiid. Something happened. Yeah. Massacre. Okafor. Bust. And they screwed up the medical records when they tried to put him in Boston. Disaster. Ben Simmons. Oh, hey, Ben, we want you to gain 40 pounds in a month. Oh, wait, Your feet can't handle that? Okay, we'll see you next year. Fultz, obvious reasons. Zaire Smith, okay, Jones fracture, not all their fault. Then we're going to put you on a diet regimen. Oh, wait, we didn't consult with your doctors. Oh, you're allergic to that? Whoopsies, we'll see you in a year. Maybe. It's the Sixers syndrome. If you think in, 5-6 consecutive years, your first pick, literally, I feel I'm scared to death for Shaman because he's technically in that first-round bubble. I don't know what's going to happen to him next, but he's next.
Don't jinx it. He's been really good.
I know. That's why I'm afraid.
Please
I
don't
like him
jinx
too
that.
much.
He's been very, very good for this basketball team.
But
Absolutely.
For anybody that's going on Twitter and Facebook saying, "Oh, cut the kid," you can't cut him. It's a $9 million. He does nothing. Anyone that wants to say it's a distraction of this team, it's not. It's a distraction for a team that doesn't have big time play. When you have Butler, Simmons, and Embiid on your team, little Markelle Fultz is not a distraction.
I mean, I'm going to be really interested to see how this plays out and how this injury affects going forward, because I do believe in the talk that there was interest from Phoenix and that you could possibly have gotten maybe a Trevor Ariza for Fultz, and Justin Patton would have been a name, or Korkmaz was a name that was floated out there. I believe that there could have been there could be an opportunity there for that, but I'm interested now. That was prior to this specific diagnosis. And again, if it's true, and maybe it is, I'd have to see what they can do to help this. And that's going to give me more of an indication of, is this kid movable? Because, listen, I don't care if the kid comes back and he's 100%. At this point, he needs to go elsewhere. He needs a fresh start. And the way this team is built now, a developing project like himself does not fit the narrative for what this team and the stage that this team is at right now.
Well, you know what I probably do? So if he comes back, which they're saying he's out indefinitely, then there's reports saying it can only take 3 weeks at the minimum. Mark my words, he's out for the year. If he somehow then comes
He's
back.
had this issue for how long? But 3 weeks is enough to
exactly.
he can come back.
They're
Come
like,
on.
oh, well, if he gets through the pain and treatment. So you're basically saying this falls in the kid's hand to say when he's ready. Well, it took him how long to say he was ready? If he then comes back at any point and plays for the Sixers and has any resemblance of playing well, I immediately bounce him for Josh Jackson. Because that's a trade that you look for. Because, number one, Phoenix needs guards badly. Josh Jackson is not fitting there. It's perfect. You flip him. Because we were going to get Josh Jackson anyway if we didn't go up and get Fultz.
I'm not opposed to either of those, but I kind of like Ariza a little more just because if you make that move, he's an expiring contract. It opens up a lot more money. That is the move that you make for next year that does open up that you can sign another max player. That will put them at about, from what I read, I think it'll put them between 32 and 34 million, which you got to get to 32 to sign a max player. That opens up a lot more possibilities for next year. So I don't mind Josh Jackson if that's the way they end up going, if that's a possibility.
The only way
but I would rather have Ariza, and I think Ariza for this year, absolutely, two-way player, shoots the three, plays great perimeter defense. I really like Ariza with the makeup of this. I keep saying basketball team. It's to me, it's the first hour. So
the only reason why I disagree with that, in my opinion, you're going to have a lot of guys that you can get in the buyout that are going to be expiring deals, 1-year rentals. That's where you go to the buyout. In my opinion, if you can get a guy who we were literally lined up to get in the draft, somebody who is clear, like TTP said, Josh Jackson is a dog. Exactly. He has so much potential, and he's just not getting it where he's at. Right. He's kind of blocked a little bit. He's just not fitting there, and that's okay. He's still a very good player, in my opinion. This is an opportunity to go out and get a guy that you can have build through the next handful of years. Because it's great to have 1-year rentals, and especially when you're trying to win a championship. But if you can get a Josh Jackson that's a steal. That's a steal.
And real quick, before I know you want to throw in one of your things before we head off, did you see Vince Carter's comments about where he's playing at now with Atlanta?
I hope he's saying that he's going to get bought out and he's going to come to Philly, but
he's saying that he doesn't want to get bought out. He's essentially saying
Vince.
He's saying at this point in his career, he's not worried about winning championships.
Oh,
he likes playing with the young guys and being a veteran voice, and that, from what I read, Atlanta is not considering buying him out at this point, that they may continue to keep him, which, by the way, I think he could definitely be a contributor on this team or any other team.
I want him in free agency. I want him in over the summer.
But they're talking that he apparently isn't worried about winning championships. He wants to he's enjoying playing with non-playoff teams and helping young kids.
Hey, Vince, you know what's going to be
sounds
really
pretty
enjoyable?
terrible that we're like, oh, he wants to help kids. Fuck, what a dickhead.
Oh, no,
Like,
I mean, listen, it's noble of him, but it's
right,
extremely...
that's exactly my point, right.
He reaps a lack of self-awareness.
Dude, when I read that, I was like, what?
Come over to Philly when we're actually we're
This guy's
relevant
only
now.
made the playoffs one
Vince, you're gonna have
time
a
in
lot
his
of fun.
career. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Vince. Come on, Vince.
Go ahead, Chucks. I know you had another.
Sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, so I
No
just
huddle.
I'm very, very, very happy that Mike McCarthy was finally fired. I think it's about time. I think that there's
Surprised.
You're surprised he didn't last.
I
through the
think
whole
I
season?
think that he should have made it through the year.
That's
I think
fair.
he earned that.
That's fair. But I'm just happy he's gone regardless.
Only two
so-
losing seasons, playoffs, 9 of 11 years,
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. I know that he clashed with Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of years. But listen, he's earned his spot at this point for me to at least finish out the year and go out honorably. I think it's tough. I don't know if it sends the right message firing him in the middle of this.
First time the Packers ever did that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
And that's the guy they chose to do it to. Like the history that he's had.
Because of the guy they chose in the offseason to pay. That's why.
No, and I get it, but they're not going anywhere this year. They're not going to lose anything by letting him finish out the year. I kind of feel like they should have. And it's crazy when they talked about they pulled him in immediately after the game. We're like, you're gone. See you later.
Well, that game was horrific.
Right,
to be fair. I get what you're saying.
But there
though.
was no like, let's give it a day. Let's let everything. They immediately pull him in as soon as they come off the field. Like, to me, that's even more of a shocker that not just that they did it at this point in the season, that they like gave no breather room in between that loss. And listen, it was a terrible loss. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the guys earn more respect than that.
I get it. I mean, that's debatable.
It's the right move.
It's the right move. Yeah,
he needed
that's
to
what
go
I'm saying,
by the end of the year. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that there was, I think on First Take, I think what was his name, Ryan Clark, was talking about how they were starting to blast Aaron Rodgers and say that, oh, Aaron Rodgers is just as much to blame as Mike McCarthy. I think that's a load of horse shit. Like, Aaron Rodgers is definitely part of the blame. He hasn't been as good. I mean, he's been hurt, but still he hasn't been performing to the standard that we know of Aaron Rodgers. So I get that, and Rodgers doesn't make things easy all the time. But I think it's plain to see, if you know how to watch football, Mike McCarthy doesn't know what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball. He just doesn't. He lacks creativity in his schemes. Like, doesn't do anything in terms of game planning. I read there was on one of my podcasts, there's an inside source that said that as the week goes on, Rodgers would sometimes, the QB and the coach oftentimes when on the team, I think they said on Fridays, they'll sit down and they'll go over which plays they like the most. Usually that's on Fridays. There will be often times when Mike McCarthy would skip those meetings because he wanted to focus on the defense. And then on Saturday, he would go back and change a lot of the plays and a lot of the game plan that Rodgers put together the day before. So that was happening. Apparently, that was happening consistently throughout the season. So when your quarterback and coach aren't on the same page like that, that's you can see how the Packers have struggled. It leads to so many faulty game plans.
So now what they did is they went and they gave the interim job to Joe Philbin, who allowed Incognito to bully Jonathan Martin and basically make that guy a head case to where he's carrying threatening guns on social media.
Is that who they named as interim?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the interim. That's a real qualified head coach. To me, that guy should never have even had the opportunity. I don't care even as an interim.
I didn't even know
to coach in the
that,
league again as a head coach.
Yeah, I didn't even know they hired him.
Yeah,
as an interim.
well, yeah. I mean, they promoted him to interim for the time being. Great great choice there.
Yeah,
I think I'd rather have McCarthy at that point for the rest of the year.
That's questionable. But I think the one person that I really want the Packers to hire the most, Josh McDaniels.
I don't think that's going to go well. That's not going to go
well.
well.
I know. But
I don't think
if you think about it, it makes sense in terms of he's exactly what Rodgers has been missing all these years.
I don't think that that's going to go well, and I think that Mike McCarthy will probably land in Cleveland.
I can see that.
I think that Cleveland with a young Baker Mayfield would be a really good landing spot for him.
I think it would either be him. I think Todd Bowles is going to get fired. I think if you want to talk about a guy with a matchup like Rodgers, he will never be like Rodgers, but somebody who improvises a lot. It's Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Jets and McCarthy could be very, very – it could make a lot of sense.
Well, here's what I'll say. I agree with you on that. That might be my second choice. And then maybe you have somebody like I think DiFilippo. DiFilippo could be
That's why I think goes Browns.
Could be an opportunity for the Browns with Baker Mayfield as well. I think McCarthy is, to me, in my head, McCarthy's probably the front runner for the Browns. DiFilippo would probably be number 2. It's a great spot, though, the Jets for McCarthy.
If McCarthy goes anywhere, I think it should just be as DiFilippo as an offensive coordinator isn't even anything special.
We have to remember, this is an odd year in football where there's not a ton of coaches, in my opinion, that are A, on the hot seat, B, going to get fired because so many of them have been new because the last 2 to 3 years have been fired. So they're all young guys, and they're trying to give them time.
No, and some of those jobs that you expected to open up, like the Dallas job, clearly is not going to open up this year. No. He's going to get an extension, the Clapper. So I'm going to be really interested.
I hope he gets an extension.
Be really, really interested to see how this offseason goes, guys.
I hope the Clapper and Dak stay there for a long time. Anything else for
2 seconds before we hop off? We didn't touch on the Eagles and Cowboys. What's your touch of the? What's your just the quick keys of the game?
I know I addressed it a little bit in the first half, but I think on offense, they can't just go out and say, okay, man to man, we're just gonna go out matchup on matchup and beat you. There has to be a lot of misdirection, a lot of disguising, and a lot of getting that defense off balance to confuse them. Because athletically, they are a matchup problem.
Yeah,
so you can't go one-on-one with them. You've got to get them thinking a little bit too much, and so that they can have that use that to their advantage.
Yeah, and you got to contain Amari Cooper this week, guys.
Yeah, bracket covered him. Do whatever you need to do. He is their one legit weapon in the passing game. I know they have Zeke, but I mean, like, is extensively in the passing game.
Yeah.
Here's their one legit weapon. On the other side of the ball, it's the same thing as it always has been. Stop Zeke and make sure Dak doesn't beat you with his legs. He's not going to beat you with his arm. Just make sure you contain both of them in the running game. And I think that if they do that, if they don't let Zeke beat them, and they make sure Dak stays like in their pocket, I think our defense can hold them. I really do think they can hold them to under 14 points.
Let's not let Amari make fun of Markelle Fultz again this week.
Although, yeah.
Take us out, big dog.
All right, guys. Well, probably good to have you for the second half. Glad you were able to make it.
I was so happy to be a guest on Birds of a Feather, guys.
Bro, thanks again for Mr. Bro for producing.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for chiming in on Birds of a Feather this week. We are brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayerLLC.com or GibsonMayer.com. And thanks to Specialized Physical Therapy LLC. Find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Guys, we got tomorrow. You guys have the fix tomorrow, right?
Of course.
The fix. Thursday, we've got Lazy Booking.
We got the fix. I got this part,
You want to get this? Okay.
Take a back seat now. We got the fix. We got AM and the PM tomorrow. Thursday, Lazy Booking. Hockey Happy Hour is this week, right?
Yeah, correct.
Hockey Happy Hour. We're off Friday. New guys aren't on yet, right?
Next week,
Reportedly, I believe they...
Is it this Friday or next Friday?
Could be. Just keep your eye out.
Okay.
May have a show going Friday. If so, it'll be a first-timer, and check these guys out. They're awesome. Saturday, we have the Hooligans. Sunday, we have Agree to Disagree. Monday, Sports Hounds. And then we're back with you next week after Cowboys week.
Let's go.
Get that W this week, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you join us on Instagram, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, we look forward to talking to you next week. Great job, Ryan Broder, on the ones and twos. Thank you, Tom Arnone, for stepping in for me. Chucks, Chrome, we're out, guys. Fly Eagles fly. We'll see you next week.